I'm here with Annabelle, who's probably not very happy to be in my lap. This is going to be her Roadmap to Success video, and this is going to be a very short Roadmap to Success because this is a shorter session than what I normally do. This is really a dog psychology session. When I do dog behavior sessions, it's all about rules and structure and that little move. See how she jumped a little bit. And so this is really more about, we want to build up her confidence. We want to help her come into the light. And I think that she's just so... the guardians have done a great job with her. She is probably a lot better. I didn't see her when she left the puppy mill, but we have a tendency to kind of hit plateaus. And a lot of times we have a fearful dog. We kind of think, well, I'll just kind of let them do their thing, but they're just kind of sitting and dwelling on their discomfort. So we don't want her to do that. We want her to feel calm and comfortable. There we go. And unfortunately, puppy mills, a lot of times they just don't have any way to get away. So a lot of these dogs are extraordinarily docile, but you please don't disregard or confuse docile with the dog that wants you to do it. This is the first time I'm really touching her, and I've been here for almost 2 hours. One of the best things you can do when you have a dog that's fearful is to give it space. So when you have guests come over, I'd like you to have your guests ignore her completely. Don't try to look at her. Don't try to talk to her. Don't give her any eye contact. Just act like she's not even there. She'll actually prefer that, and you'll notice after a while she'll start gravitating towards those people a little bit because they're not a threat. They're not trying to do anything that she perceives to be threatening. Now, a little exercise that I was trying to do that I wasn't able to do, but I think that people that she knows better than me, but that she's not fully comfortable with, would be perfect people to do this. So what I would do is I would have, and I would normally shoot it the other direction, but there's light there and it would be all backlit. But the other couch that the Guardian is filming on right now is kind of an L. It's kind of longer. So what I'd like to have you do is have the guests come over and sit right here on the edge of the ottoman piece while she's over there. And what you want to do is kind of the same thing, or you could actually have her there. You can kind of do it wherever. But basically what you want to do is have the person on one end of the couch and her on the other end. And what we want to do is take out these high-value training treats. I'm going to leave them here with you. I would probably tear them into thirds because even though the one tearing them in half, she's still chewing more than I would like. Usually the dog should chew it 2 or 3 times and then be done. So what we want to do, and I was doing a little bit, is I want her to practice approaching the person, having something good happen, and then she gets to move away on her own volition and nothing bad happens. So if I'm sitting here and she's there, what I would do is just take a treat, let her see that I have a treat, and throw it halfway distance between me and her. Careful it doesn't go in the cushions, the crevice. Maybe put a towel down. And then so she comes over and gets it, and don't tell the person, don't try to get her, entice her to come. Let her see it, tear it in half, and just whoop, drop it. And then just wait. So what we want her to do is come towards, get the treat, and turn around and retreat and go back away where she feels comfortable. Now, if you put it halfway distant, let's say she's on that end of the couch and I'm here, and I put it right in the middle and she won't come, and she's on this side, then I would put another one. Sorry, sweetheart, let me help you out here. I'd put the other one, if the treat's here and she's here, I'd put one halfway distance between her and the treat. So I make it gradually easier and easier. And if all she'll go is 1 inch and move away, that's fine. That's still progress. What we want her to practice doing is approaching someone, something good happened, she moved away, and she did all of this on her own without any influence from the humans. After a while, she might be only able to go here at first, then eventually here, then eventually here, eventually all the way up to the person. Now, that's going to probably be a threshold that's going to take a little more practice. Ideally, you'd like to find somebody that's kind of calm, has a lower energy, who is going to listen to you. Everybody is a dog behavior expert. I actually am a dog behavior expert. But a lot of people, well, this worked for my dog. Well, she is a 1 percentile dog. Stuff that works for 99% of the other dogs is not going to work for her. And all we really care about is what's working for her. We're going to be selfish. So if you have somebody who comes over and like, oh, but I'm good with dogs, I'm going to do this. That's not the person to ask. Somebody who's going to listen to you, has a calm energy, and is going to be willing to be patient, take the time. And it'd be nice if they could come over, spend like 5 minutes, doing this. And then eventually when she, if she shuts down, don't push her. Then get up and have him walk away, go in the kitchen, kind of do your own thing, come back in, sit down again, and try to repeat it if you can. What you're going to notice is the more she does this, the better at it she's getting. Like the video we just shot above about her touching her nose to your hand. At first, it's going to be kind of intermittent. After a while, it'll be faster, and then directly, and then 100% of the time. That's when instead of going like this, you're going to start chopping here, then here, then here, then here, and she's going to be voluntarily going and touching it with her nose. Now, again, make sure that when she touches you with her paw, you do the same sort of thing. So come up with a word that means, hey, baby, or whatever it is. Come up with a word that's funny when she's touching you. Now, she is kind of telling you what to do. Normally, I tell people not to pet their dogs when the dogs do that, but we just want her to interact and say, I like this, I like that. That's great for her. The guardians kind of free feed her now, and I usually would recommend the guardians go to structured feeding where they eat something in front of her in 5 bites, then they give her permission to eat the food that's waiting in her bowl. However, she won't even go in the kitchen until she knows her guardians have vacated the area. So you can do a couple things for this, and this is one of the things I was going to do with the clicker, but I don't think it's going to work for her. So your kitchen is there a doorway to the kitchen, or is there a wide opening to your kitchen?
It's just open.
Okay. So what you want to do is, a lot of times what I'll do is do this in segments. So use the clicker, go in the kitchen, sit down on the floor, maybe bring her over to the area, and maybe bring a dog bed over there so she can see it, and just sit in the kitchen. As soon as she looks at the kitchen, click, and then give her a treat and say the word kitchen. And at first, she's practicing what we call avoidance right now. She's not looking at me because she wants me to know I don't like being here, but it looks better with her in the shot. But I'm not trying to pet her or do anything more than what she can accept. This is a technique called flooding. I don't use it very much because it is a tiny bit of force. What we want the dog to do is be exposed to something that's not fear, that they shouldn't fear, and have them realize it's a good experience. Again, I like to try to not do that, but sometimes you have dogs so fearful we have to kind of get them started. So we would prefer not to have her moving away. So you go in the kitchen, you're sitting on the floor, she's on the dog bed or blanket or whatever is comfortable for her to sit there. And then basically every time she looks at the kitchen, you click and say kitchen. And you keep doing that until she's pretty much just staring at the kitchen. And then at that point, then you would put a treat halfway between her and the door to the kitchen. Again, the same principle I just talked about. So she gets up and walks towards it, gets the treat, and walks away. We're not saying kitchen at this point because she's not actually going in the kitchen. So we keep doing that until she's coming, and eventually we're putting the breadcrumb closer and closer and closer, and eventually she will stick her head past the threshold to get the treat. Then a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. I'd like to get to the point where by the next session she is going into the kitchen. You can even say kitchen, she goes in there. That's going to depend on how much time and practice you put into this and how fearful the flooring could be, the shininess of the floor, or the temperature, or the light. There could be a lot of different factors why she doesn't go in there, probably a combination thereof. And so, but if you do this, again, all I do is look at it and I get a treat, look at it and get a treat. Well, this is, now I'm looking at it, I like looking at it, it gets me rewards. If I like looking at it, maybe I want to experience it. I might start going in there a little bit more, going closer to it, or feel confident enough to go somewhat to it without having to go all the way in. Yeah, her pupils are pretty pegged. You look like you're on a hit of ecstasy, except for I don't think that the euphoria is kicking in. So, and I want you to do this if there are things that she's fearful of, to pull it out and have it far enough away. What I usually do is I have it behind my back, or I might have it static like on the table over there, like we have a Chick-fil-A cup. So every time she looks at the Chick-fil-A cup, click, click, and you'll notice after a while she's just staring at the Chick-fil-A cup. So there's other things in the house that she doesn't like, then you can help her get used to those things. Now, I also talked a little bit about separation anxiety. The things I typically do with separation anxiety, I can't do with her because she's just she's not even at zero. She's at a deficit. So I want the guardian to work on focusing on the triggers. So there's a couple things you can do. Exercising her before we leave can help. Make sure she has a recovery period. Also, if you pick up your laptop or your backpack or your keys or any of these things, those are triggers, and the dog starts to associate all the individual steps that you go through before you leave me. So then the dog doesn't want to do starts getting worked up as it sees you doing these things. So what you want to do is kind of figure out what those things are and practice them independent of you leaving. So get up and put your shoes on in a place you normally put your shoes on before you leave, and then take them right back off. Go over there where your keys are, pick them up, put them back down, or pick them up and put them in your pocket and grab your sunglasses, put them on, and then put your sunglasses back down, take the keys out, and go sit back down. So you can do all these things in a chaotic order and in different iterations. Sometimes just the keys, sometimes key and sunglasses, sometimes key, sunglasses, and lighter if we smoke or whatever it is. And so we kind of create this association that is not associated with us leaving. So we desensitize her for those things. She has accidents when her guardians leave. It's not an accident. It is really an accident. It's losing control of the bowels. Guardian here and understands this, but a lot of people, when their dog has separation anxiety and has an accident or destroys and chews things, they get really upset with the dog. We take it personally. But when the dog is in a separation anxiety, it's essentially in a panic state. It can't do anything. And so it's freaking out. So they chew things often to soothe themselves. Or they lose control of their bowels, and that's where the pee and poop comes from. So if you have a friend who was so scared of something they peed themselves, you wouldn't make fun of them. They're saying, I'm terrified of this. you would want to help them get over it, or simply not mention it. So if she does chew things up or pees or stuff like that, we don't want to punish her. The guardians here aren't, but other people might watch this video. Also, she likes chewing on a hairbrush handle. Was that like something you gave her because she destroyed, or she just kind of got a hold of?
She just went in and got it.
Okay, so when she is going to be in separation anxiety mode while we're processing this, know that she's going to get into some things. I would get yourself some antlers, a nylabone or two. And nylabones, they don't have to look like the fake cartoon bone. They have one that looks like a circle. I have one that looks like a Tyrannosaurus, all sorts of different ones. And they come in different flavors too. You might also get an actual bone. She's got a bully stick, I think, by the way, you kicked it under the couch, so be careful about that. But giving her appropriate chew things to chew on is great because they do, when they're stressed, they do chew on things to help soothe their stress. So if you get to the habit of you providing her with a whole bunch of great appropriate things for her to chew on, instead of chewing on brushes, she's going to chew on those things. Now the brush, was it your brush? So you hold it in your hand when you brush your hair, so it has your scent on it. So you can grab an antler, and just while you're watching TV, just hold it and twist it around in your hand and keep doing that while you're watching the TV. Now you're putting your scent on it, and then you leave it on the table. Well, now this is what I'm going to chew on to redirect and to self-release some of this frustration. And because she's trying to get your sense or scent, well, now you've applied it, but you're applying it to an appropriate chew toy. At the same time, we want to remove anything that might be tempting to chew on that is inappropriate, so she doesn't form a behavior pattern of chewing on the wrong things. Let me think. I think that's just about it. Like I said, this is a different roadmap to success than I normally do because she's so petrified at this point, or not petrified, but she's just so shut off from the world. We need to help her start re-engaging. So when we come back, we might do a little bit of, one other thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get her to kind of enjoy eating shredded cheese. So get some shredded cheese and just put a little trail of it, not a ton, just a little pinch, and kind of make it into a little trail. And you can do it on the couch in places wherever she's comfortable at first, then put some on the couch, then put more on the floor. We want her to kind of get used to getting that because we're going to use that in our next step. We're hopefully going to get her interacting thing outside of the house. Is this a pheromone collar?
No, it's
that's
flea
a flea and tick
tick,
collar.
yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? Anything you want me to go over this video before we wrap it up?
No.
You can always call me or text me if you have any questions. So we're going to come back and we're going to see Annabelle here in a couple weeks. And we'll probably do a little bit more of this clicker training. But since she's definitely she's avoiding me as much as she can, we're going to go ahead and end this so that she can kind of go back to being on the other couch and be away from this big scary guy. Well, this is Annabelle, and I'm David, and this is Annabelle's Roadmap to Success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.